Morning everyone and welcome to today's webinar. The National Disability Services, NDS, the network of Council of Social Services through ACOSS and Jobs Australia are working in collaboration to implement the SACS National Education and Information Program on behalf of the Commonwealth Government. The focus of the program is to provide factual information about the move to the SCHADS Modern Award and the outcome from the Equal Remuneration Order. The content of the program has been developed by NDS, the network of ACOSS and Jobs Australia, and our aim is to meet the needs of employers who have employees under the SACS Modern Award. We're also working in collaboration with the ASU, who are rolling out a program which focuses on the needs of employees employed under the SACS Modern Award. So we're going to be looking at specifically New South Wales, the SCHADS classifications, and how the ERO implementation impacts in New South Wales. We're going to look at the Fair Work system, specifically the Modern Award, the transitional phasing movement towards the Modern Award, the equal pay case, and also translation issues in terms of the classifications in New South Wales. So in terms of transitional arrangements, for those of you who have staff under SACS or the crisis accommodation classifications of the Modern Award, we had to move to the Modern Award classifications from the 1st of July 2012. For those of you who had staff in home care and family daycare, that classification translation over to the Modern Award had to have been done by the 1st of February this year. And the reason for that is that they're excluded from the equal remuneration case. In terms of wages, the Modern Award rates apply from the 1st of July 2012, except where the current award rates are higher. Where they are higher, you needed to maintain those. Also, those rates of pay had a 2.9% national minimum wage increase decision applied from the 1st of July this year. Same applied for home care and family daycare. However, we moved to the Modern Award rates where they were lower for home care and family daycare as of the 1st of February this year. In terms of penalty rates and loadings, the Modern Award says that we phase from the old New South Wales SACS across to the Modern Award rate. So we started commencing that as of the 1st of July this year, and that goes right through in incremental amounts right up until July 2014. In terms of home care and family daycare, the only difference is that the first phased change kicked in as of the 1st of February this year. However, there was another change to those phased rates, and that was in July 1st this year. So all employees are now subject to the same percentage of phased penalty rates and loadings. So in terms of the equal pay decision, Fair Work announced in February this year the creation of the equal pay decision, and they advised that that was to commence in December this year. So we've just seen the first increase in the equal remuneration amounts. They also advised that it was to be conducted in 9 equal instalments over 8 years, and that would occur in December each year. In terms of the equal remuneration order increases, what you're looking at here is the Modern Award. So the Modern Award will move by the full equal remuneration order percentages. So for a SACS level 2 it's 19% right down to a level 8 which is 41%. But Fair Work also found that there was a lack of potential bargaining within our industry, and so they've applied a 4% loading to make up for this. So that takes the full equal remuneration order amount between 23% and 45%. Obviously, dividing that by the 9 equal instalments over the 8 years, a SACS level 2 will move by 2.6%, right down to a level 8, right through you can see there, a SACS level 8 moves by 5%. In terms of the transitional issues, currently where old award rates are higher than the Modern Award rates, the old rate is maintained, and that becomes what we call your transitional rate. And those transitional rates do move in line with the equal remuneration order each December, and we need to arrive at the same rates of pay as the Modern Award rates in 2020. It's just that they'll move at a slower proportional amount. So in terms of the ERO arithmetic, we tried to make it as easy as possible. And what we're reflecting here is A is the equal remuneration component, or if you like, where we'll be in 2020. B is your current award rate. So that's either going to be the modern award rate if your rate was lower than the modern award rate from the 1st of July, you had to move to the modern award rate, or it'll be the old SACS New South Wales rate if that was higher. So that is your transitional rate. Then the way to calculate the actual percentage increase is where we need to be in 2020 minus where we are now and divide the difference by 1/9 each year. I think it's easier reflected here. What I'm showing you at the moment, column A is the full equal remuneration order on the modern award rate. So in 2020, this is what the modern award rates will look like. B is the current modern award rate. So that's where we are, that's where the modern award is at the moment. And then if we apply the equal remuneration order, we still need to get to where the full equal remuneration order will be in 2020. And the way we do that is, as I said, in the 9 equal instalments. So we calculate the difference between the two and then we divide it by 9. And each December, anyone sitting on the modern award, as you can see here, would move by 1/9 or that amount of the pie. In terms of those where the New South Wales rates were higher and we've preserved that as the transitional rate, or perhaps you have a collective agreement that sits higher, or any over award payments, they're dealt with separately. However, if you're sitting on the old SACS New South Wales rates, you can see from here, they start higher than the modern award rate potentially, and as I said, they still we need to get to the full equal remuneration order amount in 2020, and we still move by the 9 equal instalments. It's just that we don't have as far to go, therefore the 9 instalments are potentially less than the modern award rate. So just to give you an example of what we're talking about here, we need to keep in mind that at the same time we're doing the classification translation. So two things I'm showing you here. It's possible for people who are at different levels in the old SACS New South Wales rate to translate to the same level. And what we're reflecting here is that under the old SACS New South Wales, a level 2.1 and a level 3.1 for this example have translated to a level 3. You can see here, in taking you through it, the modern award level 3.1 provided for $748.80. If we applied the applicable percentage to the equal remuneration order to the modern award rate, it actually would have moved the modern award to $943.50. However, you then needed to add the 2.9% national minimum wage increase, and then you need to recalculate the equal remuneration order amount after the 2.9% increase. So that's reflected here by the $970.80 on the bottom column. That's showing you that if we were sitting at 2020, that would be what the modern award rate is. Now what you need to do is calculate, as I said, where you would be in 2020, or the $970.80, from where you are now, which is the $770.50. Divide that by the 1/9 and add it back to the $770.50, which moves the modern award rate to $792.80, or if you like 2.9%, which is 1/9 of the full equal remuneration order. Now the other example that we're showing you here is it's possible, as I said, for a level 3.1 to transfer to the modern award level 3.1, and you can see that under the old SACS New South Wales, a level 3.1 would have been paid $825.70. Again, the national minimum wage increase did apply to the old SACS New South Wales rate, so in fact after the 1st of July that person would have moved to $849.60, and that becomes their transitional or preserved award rate. So again, we need to always get to the modern award rate. So what you need to do is where we will be in 2020, or the equal remuneration order amount recalculated after the 2.9% national minimum wage increase, is $970.80. That person's currently on $849.60. Take the $970.80 away from $849.60 and then calculate 1/9 and add back one night. So that person would move from $849.60 over to $863.10. And represented as a percentage, what that means is while the modern award is moving by the full 2.9%, this person will only move by 1.6%, which is moving along with the equal remuneration order. It's just at a slower rate. In terms of level 2.1, this example just shows you that prior to June this year, that person was on $718.40. In doing the translation over to a level 3 from the 1st of July and looking at what their rate would have been, the modern award rate was higher than their old SACS New South Wales rate where they translated from. So this person moved directly to the modern award rate, and they'll just follow along with the modern award so that you can see here they'll get the full 2.9% increase. So reflected in a table, now we've had to make some assumption here that each year in July it'll be a 3% national minimum wage increase, and that's only for the purposes of showing you the example. So what you're looking at here, the dark green line is the modern award rate, and you can see between December 2012 and December 2020, the rate escalates at quite a steep rate, and that's twice each year, so that'll be the July national minimum wage increase, and there'll also be the ERO component on the 1st of December each year. Also reflected here is the New South Wales SACS rates. So using the example we did previously of a level 3.1 going to a 3.1 of the modern award, you can see that person sat substantially higher prior to the translation. Therefore, when you apply the equal remuneration order, it means that they still move towards the modern award rate, they just move at a slower proportionate rate. And the reason for that, as I said, is because they start from a higher base. But thankfully, we'll all end up on the same rates at 2020. In terms of translations to the new SACS classifications, as I said, the classifications took effect from the 1st of July this year. And what you need to do is assess the core skills and responsibilities of a position against the classification descriptions of the SCHADS. So really, imagine there's no one in that job at the moment, and the ideal way to do it is to write a position description, ensure it's an accurate position description, and if you were going to advertise that job tomorrow, what skills, responsibilities, duties, etc. would you want within that position description? So once you're happy with your position description being up to date and accurate, you then review that against Schedule B of the Modern Award. That's where the classification descriptors are set out. We say take a holistic approach. So it's not a matter of picking out one or two sections that you say applies to someone. You need to look at the classifications as a whole. Then once you have potentially classified someone, you should look at the classification both above and below that level to make sure that the classification you've assigned them is the most accurate classification level for them. In terms of translation principles, as I said, each position should be considered individually and you should take a practical approach. So you need to make sure that position description is up to date, and that's definitely going to be your starting point. Certainly wage rates aren't the basis for translation, so we're not trying to match money against money, but we are doing it against a position description. And it is possible for two positions currently at the same classification to translate to different levels within the Modern Award, and that's based on different duties, skills, responsibilities and requirements. It's also possible for two positions currently at different levels, as I showed you in the example, to end up at the same classification level within the Modern Award, and again that's based on the duties, skills, responsibilities and requirements of the position. Experience and qualifications need to be considered, but again it's a holistic approach, and as I say, Schedule B of the Modern Award provides the classification descriptors there. Some indicative translations in New South Wales. So what we're looking at here is, on the left-hand side is the SCHADS Modern Award classifications level 1 to 8. Now in New South Wales, the old SACS New South Wales had 6 classifications. So you can see from this table it's possible potentially for a New South Wales SACS old level 3 classification to translate to either a SCHADS level 3 or a SCHADS level 4, depending on the level of skill, duties, qualifications and requirements of the position. And they're really, the best way to assess that is to sit down with the modern award and make sure that you are assessing it against the correct classification. In terms of classification dimensions, the modern award does spell out characteristics, responsibilities and requirements within the different classification levels, and depending on the extent of each of the level of responsibility of the positions that you are rating against the modern award, that will determine where the position is ultimately classified within the SCHADS award. What we've pulled out here is in relation to direction. So under the SCHADS classifications, you can see here level 1 really works under direct supervision or close direction, right through to a level 3 works under direct supervision or general supervision. And really what you need to do here, as I say, is to get out the modern award, take that holistic approach. Once you think you've assessed someone's classification level, look at the level above and the level below just to make sure that you are comfortable with where you've classified someone to, and also using that translation table will give you a good foundation. So in conclusion, if you require any further information or links to other websites, you can refer to the NDS website, and that should be up on your screen now. I'd like to thank you all for listening, and hopefully you find the information useful.